Welcome, YouTube friends and family, to today's edition of the Wellness Homesteader, and a big welcome to our 300 plus new subscribers that came over to us from a beautiful video that Homestead Tessie did. So for my subscribers, if you've never taken a look at Homestead Tessie's channel, please guys, go over, give her a like, give her a sub. She has over 100,000 subscribers compared to my little channel. But Tessie and I have been friends really ever since I discovered her on YouTube, which has probably been like 7-8 years ago. And she sent out a kind message to all of her prayer warriors. And y'all, I'm going to try not to cry. For all you newbies, you're probably like, is that girl do anything but cry? And does she always lay in the dark? No, I don't. That was the video that she sent you to, which was a good video to send you to because it was a really good representation of what I'm feeling and going through, but it wasn't my best work, let me just say that. So anyway, I thought I would take this video to give you a little update. There's not a lot of update. Introduce myself to all the new folks. Let you know what my channel has always been about, what I'm about, who I am. And that way you can get to know me a little better, because I have a feeling, you know, while I have faith that the Lord is going to see me through this health journey, I'm probably going to have some good days and bad days. So, y'all, while I'm still having good days, yeah, let's talk a little bit about who I am, where I came from, and why am I in this big universe called YouTube. I hope you'll stay tuned. All right, so I am going to be 64, I don't know, next week I think it is. So let's just call it 64, right? So I'm 64 years old. I'm a registered nurse by profession. I still have my license active, although I retired in 2019 after my 4th major spine surgery. I shouldn't laugh, y'all, but the docs were like, we can't keep fixing you. I kept having hardware failures because maybe I wasn't always following to the T what I was supposed to do and not do. Nurses are the worst, guys. Career has been wonderful. It's been a big help to me in my own health journey. Both of my parents are now gone. My dad, 14 years. My mom passed away in 2023. If you go back and look at some of my playlists, you'll see my mom had dementia. And I did a lot of videos on the decision to move her to a memory care assisted living because my mom was an escape artist. I live on a state route. I could not keep my mom safe, and she benefited much more from having a facility. She lived about 1.5 years in the facility, and at first she said, I hate this place and I hate you for putting me here. And the next time it was, you know, a little later on, it was like, well, let's go home. You know, it became home to her. But I totally understand. I had to sell her home she'd lived in for 60 years, all of her possessions that she couldn't take with. So if you're going through something like that, I do have those videos as well. So personal life, I guess. I'm single. Plan to stay that way. No, I've been single for 28 years. I spent a lot of my life climbing the corporate ladder. I don't regret that. I spent a lot of time caring for ill parents. My father had prostate cancer. My mom, of course, I said, had dementia. I don't regret it. And I have one son, just one, who I'm sure you know is just, he's the love of my life, the light of my life. My son's name is Ben. He's 40, never been married and doesn't have kids. I hope he's not like mimicking me, but at any rate, he feels like those times have passed for him. He's very serious about his career, but he is a hilarious, dry sense of humor, sarcastic, so much fun to be around. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, young man, but he hates YouTube. So he's always like, don't put me on YouTube. Will you ever see him? I don't know. Because if I even like try to slip and take a video, you know how your phone will go dink. He's like, really, Mom? I can hear you taking a video. What are you going to do with that? And I wouldn't put something up that would be against his will. There are pictures, like still pictures of him in some of my intros. And guys, I need to do a new intro. I haven't felt like it. That's my excuse. So what do I do with myself now that I'm retired? Well, up until this all hit me, my dream had always been, when I retired, to homestead. So my job, I was the director of home care services for the US, Canada, and Portugal. I spent my life flying around and eating at really good restaurants. Wonder why I got fat, chubby, and diabetes. You guys will learn my sense of humor. But I just wanted home. I wanted the home place. Now, my parents were both born and raised in Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia. And large families, tobacco farmers, but they always had a home place, you know. And my dad was one of 10. They and all their spouses are gone now, which is really sad, you know. Oddly enough, most of them passed away from cancer, whether it was from the tobacco farming or just the chemicals or exposure to something or genetics, because it wasn't all the same type of cancer. We don't really know. And y'all that are new, I'm a heavy liquid consumer, so I've always got something to drink, so I apologize. Oh, I forgot I just brushed my teeth, and ooh, that's sour. It's peach tea. Put a mint in my mouth. Woo! So, home place, self-sufficiency, all those things really resonated with me. I love to can, I love to garden. So I've lived in this house 24 years. Wait, is that right? Yeah, 24. And once I retired, I got chickens because I'd always wanted chickens. And y'all will love my little ladies. Yesterday, for new and returning, I have a very dear friend who works for me as a handyman, helps me get all kinds of home repair things done, like big things, like replace a rotting post that was holding up my porch, and painting and pressure washing, and put in a new microwave, new light fixtures, all kinds of stuff. But he's also been my chicken guy, and he built an annex or an attachment between the coop and the run after a fox attack. Took out one of my chickens and really hurt my Jolene, but she's all right now. But at any rate, he worked hours yesterday and gave the girls, like, scraped out all their winter poo and crap and stuff, you know, and the old straw and bedding, and gave them all new everything. They were so hilarious, y'all. They love to play like hide and seek, so they'll get under when the straw's real fluffy and it hasn't gotten wet. They get under and they tunnel and they play, and they had the best time. I bet they slept good last night. So I do have the 4 chickens. 4 is really enough for me. I have 2 barred rocks, 1 black Australorp, and I call her my special chicken, or my special needs chicken. I don't mean any disrespect. She's a little different. She honks like a goose, and she's broody all the time. And she's decided that the new chicken I got to replace the one that went to chicken heaven, which is Miss Winona, she is a silky, a gray silky. She's decided that's her baby. They are so cute together. And you know, silkies have the afro, the blue ears, and more like fur. I'll show them all to you. So I have Jolene, Fancy Ray, Winona, and then I had done a contest for the black hen to name her, and she's Violet. So she didn't get a country name. Garden-wise, I have gardened, and I'm going to say, guys, off and on, because there were a lot of years I traveled, and I did some container gardening, and, you know, maybe had a neighbor water my tomato plants, but I didn't really produce food. But for about 40 years, I grew up that way. Now, I didn't grow up in the country. I grew up in town, but my mom and dad were, of course, very much accustomed to raising your own food. So, boy, we had good food, too. They grew everything. My mom canned and preserved a lot of different things. I will share, my mom was the worst hand to make pickles. I think about them every once in a while. I make some good pickles, but at any rate, she was truly a good cook, and she just couldn't make pickles to save her soul. She made something called salt pickles. Ugh. But at any rate, so I started out with 3 4x4 beds. The next year I added 3 more 4x4 beds. And guys, I've just kept adding. I've added 4 4x8s and 1 4x16. Well then, in order to keep the chickens out, because let me tell you, they like garden produce. Uncle Steve built me a beautiful fence. Y'all love it when you see it, if you're new. The trouble I'm having this year is I don't know what I can do, guys. I don't know. The Lord knows. I will at least have, normally by now, I would have all of my grow lights on, and I would have started all my seedlings at the end of February. Our frost-free date is, I think, April 19th. So we're getting there. But guys, I don't want to waste food, number one. So I've kind of put an offer out to a couple people to see if they might want to garden share with me. So, in other words, here's my land. Here's piles of manure. You gotta shovel your own. That, you know, have been setting that you can put on there. I only garden organically, so there would have to be some rules about no chemicals, especially around the chickens. You know, here's my water. You can water from my water, and we can share produce. I think rather than to let the land lay bare for a season, I think that might be a good idea. So that's kind of my plan. So we'll see. How am I doing on my health? Well, y'all, I hope you'll understand this. Nurses often develop a really warped sense of humor and some really, and when I say off color, I don't mean dirty. I just mean kind of sense of humor, kind of like poking fun at a disease or an illness or a problem. And I think a lot of us are that way because we've dealt with a lot of sadness in our life. We've seen people at their worst. We've watched people suffer. We've watched people pass away. We've watched people pass away alone. We've watched people cling to life. We've watched people that didn't know the Lord fight leaving this life. You know, there's a lot of good, but there's a lot of sadness. So you all may hear me make some jokes that you're like, ooh, I wouldn't say that about myself. But I want you to understand that humor and it is for my son as well. It's a little fresh for him, but he's getting there because he's already offered to shave my head if I have to have chemo, and he'll shave his too. And I'm like, oh Lord. I think what I would do, y'all, is just, it's hair. It'll grow back. I would just, in about 3 years, cut the ponytail off and let him shave it, whatever. And I don't do well with things that aren't like pretty permanently attached to my body. Now, I do get my lashes done. I probably won't if the chemotherapy makes my hair fall out. But at any rate, like false fingernails, things like that, I don't do well. So Ben's like, well, they have good wigs. And I'm like, I ain't wearing a wig. They're hot and they're scratchy. And yeah, no, it'd be sideways and crooked. There's a lot of really cute cancer turbans and things like that. So, you know, I'm starting to anticipate. I kind of think I might have some radiation before chemo, but I don't have any idea because I don't even know what type of lung cancer it is. It could be, y'all, that I have mesothelioma because I did grow up with a pretty large exposure to asbestos, but I don't know. So we're just going to have to wait it out, right? I think my biggest struggle right now, and you're probably like, you're not even short of breath. Well, when I get up and walk to the refrigerator to refill my beverage, I'll be panting like a dog on a hot summer day. It's mostly with exertion, particularly climbing stairs, things like that. But what I've learned is I can sit down in between, rest up, and then get back at it. But then I have some pretty heavy fatigue. Like, y'all, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning and I've already had a nap. a little short nap. I got up and having a lot of trouble with drinking coffee, things like that. It just doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste right. And that's partly because I am diabetic. I am on Trulicity. I've had a lot of nausea problems with that. So, you know, there's that to deal with. But at any rate, I'm not getting any caffeine. So that may be part of my fatigue. But so far, I'm able to stay alone. I'm able to do what I need to do. I have Uncle Steve, I have girlfriends, and I have all of you praying for me, which y'all, that just, you have no idea. It took me 3 days to get through, to get caught up with all of the messages, and I read each and every one. I didn't answer each and every one, but I hearted each and every one because I just got like kind of overwhelmed with it. Y'all, please keep the prayers coming. I have faith that the Lord can and will heal me. I have faith that my son will adjust because he's a very tender-hearted kid, and that, you know, it'll be fine. Probably we'll have a head shaving party because he's getting a little bald right here. So, you know, yeah, we're going to make the best of it. One thing, okay, now here's my sarcastic sense of humor. I looked up the ribbon for lung cancer because I don't think I've ever seen it, to be quite honest. Y'all, it's white. I'm like, what, I got the most boring ribbon type cancer? Couldn't it be like magenta or this teal blue or ultraviolet? No, it's white. It's white like the uniform you wore for years and years to work. So, as I go down the road, y'all, I've never asked anybody for money. Never, ever have I asked anybody for anything. And I don't plan to start. What I might do is do merch. And I've never done merchandise at all. But like a t-shirt with the ugly white ribbon, but, you know, maybe fancy it up a little bit with some inspiring scripture and maybe say the Wellness Homestead or something like that. Not right now. Here's the reason I'm thinking that. Y'all, I'm telling you, these copays are about to break me. everything, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm on Medicare, but everything is so dang expensive, and the copays on medication, and I don't even take that much medication. My diabetes medication copay is almost $300 a month, you know, and I can't just let that go by. So, you know, please don't feel any need to send me money. That's not what I'm asking for. I would do it in exchange for merchandise or something. I wouldn't just say, give me the monies, right? So let me share a little device that I put together yesterday. I was going to do a video, but Uncle Steve was here, and I might have taken another nap. So let me just show you a little something that I got to help me and why I got it. And if you're struggling, maybe it would be a help for you. So hang tight. All right, y'all. This is what they call a rollator. So it is a 4-wheeled rolling walker that has a seat on it. You can lift the seat and fold it. It'll go easily into the back seat of a car. I actually, excuse me, I'll tell you why I got this, and the reason is kind of twofold. I purchased this on Amazon. Very sturdy, very easy to put together. Whew. I can sit, right? Last week, I had an appointment at the pulmonologist. Sorry, guys. The hospital system is the big hospital with a lot of ancillary buildings around it. I graduated from there from nursing school. But people have learned if you don't want to pay at the parking garage, you can slip on by the parking garage and go back to the medical building and park, and it's a huge parking lot. Well, the problem is people like moi. I had to walk probably the equivalent of 2 small city blocks. Y'all, I didn't know if I could do it. I honestly didn't. So I thought, you know what? Even though I'm steady on my feet, this is really nice to have. If you gotta carry a bunch of stuff, you can put your sippy cup in here. I actually had gotten one of these from my mother, and she could fly with it. Now, a lot of physical therapists don't like rollators. They don't feel like they give the proper support. This is not for me a walking aid. It's a sitting aid. Country people call it set. You know, you sat down. You don't sit down, you sat down. It has, you know, when you sit, you've got this bar across the back. I don't know if y'all can even see that. You know, that this thing right here. This thing. Very comfortable on your back. Underneath the seat, your little cubby hole where you can put all your junk and stuff. I schlepped one around for my mom for years, and she was unsteady on her feet. But a lot of times when we would go somewhere where there wasn't adequate seating, Mom could sit on hers, you know, because she couldn't stand for long periods of time. So anyway, that's one thing I've gotten to help myself. The doctor didn't tell me to do it. I did it because I felt like I needed it. So as I come across little things like this, I'll be sure and let you know. I would say if you or your loved one are unsteady on their feet and you do have a physician or physical therapist evaluating that, just check with them. It does have brakes, you know, so it won't go anywhere. I don't know why they're so hated, but I've done a few bouts with physical therapists who wanted to change my mom to a traditional walker where you have to lift the walker and take a couple steps, lift the walker. My mom couldn't do that. she couldn't remember to do that, but she could roll with the best of them. So what's coming up? Well, y'all, I hope to have some outdoor activity pretty soon. It is 50 degrees this morning. It's March. Y'all, I left my watch upstairs. March 19th, Wednesday, March 19th. So I know it's going to be really windy today, and it's going to be cold tomorrow. I live in, for those of you who are new, I live in southwest central Ohio. Kind of live between Columbus and Cincinnati, if that helps you out. So we still have a lot of cold. I mean, we had snow this week. We what? But once it gets warm, it gets nice and warm. Relatively short grow season, so that doesn't impact, you know, what I'm growing. I did go ahead and purchase myself some California giant zinnias, thinking, well, if nobody wants to plant food in the beds, at least I could have a lot of beautiful flowers that I could cut, share with folks. You know, I think as a person whose love language is helping, giving, doing for others, when you lose that ability to do your normal thing, it hurts. You know, you feel a little disconnected from people. I like to feed people. Guys, I'm just not up to it right now. One thing, food grosses me out. And I think it's quite ironic. I was always very thin till I turned about. Okay, maybe very thin is a bit of an exaggeration. I was always a normal weight until I turned about 50. I don't know what happened. I love to eat. I love food. That's really when my psoriatic arthritis and my lupus kind of kicked in and I could not be as active. So I didn't change my eating habits, heavens no. So I kept eating the same amount of calories. So I've battled to keep my weight at a reasonable range for a long time. Well, since developing this illness, y'all, I'm dropping some weight without, I mean, I know why I'm dropping weight because I don't really have an appetite, but yet I feel like I need the nutrition. So I'm just going to keep at it. A lot of you have sent me some good suggestions. I eat primarily, y'all, a plant-based diet. I do eat eggs and dairy. So to say go carnivore ain't gonna happen. I know it might be good for me. I'd never get it down. It's just, I've been vegetarian exclusively for many, many years. And now I will eat some meat because it's hard for me to get enough protein if I don't. So anyway, I just want to welcome you all. I want to thank you all. We'll do some fun things. They might be short videos, but I wanted to take this opportunity to say y'all mean the world to me. Thank you so much for your loving kindness, for your prayers, for your encouragement, for your faithfulness to the Lord. You shall be rewarded for the encouragement you've given me. Keep those prayers a-coming. And I always did 3 videos a week. Y'all, I'm not up to it right now. But I am going to try to do a regular cadence, whether it's just once a week or something like that. So I hope to see you all again very soon. But until then, do me a favor, if you will. Go ahead and smash that like button. And as always, leave me a comment below. Is there a question I didn't answer that you'd like to know? And then finally, as always, be healthy, be well, be blessed, and take care.